Okay, everyone, welcome to episode number 2 of the Relay, and finally we actually have a visual.
Yeah, we kind of lied to you guys last time, but this time, hopefully you can see us unless this messes up again and we're just lying to you again. But, I mean, be positive, I guess.
That would be a mess if somehow this messed up, but we got lots to talk about today. So how was your weekend?
It was good. I'm sure not as good as yours.
No, not as good as mine.
How was Hoko?
It was good. I went to Guelph University for homecoming, and if some of you guys know, Ontario schools for homecoming is very fun. Saw a lot of people I knew. Saw a lot of people I didn't know.
What was a highlight that you can say on the
that I can remember? Probably waking up at 9 a.m. and having a beer in my hand within like 25 minutes. So
yeah, I had a pretty nice weekend. I had to work, so Friday night I hang out with my buddy. Shout out to Darren. And then Friday night I went to go see Ad Astra, the movie.
How was that?
It was a
movie.
Yeah, it was okay. Good visuals. The story was just kind of like, it was cool, but then it was kind of like, oh, it's done. That's all that happened. That's at least how I felt. Maybe I'm just stupid. I don't know. But then met up with the boys after for a few waters, and then that was pretty much my weekend. Not much happened.
Exciting stuff. Let's start talking about sports. NHL, lots of stuff went down this past week since we last talked to you guys. So biggest news are some of the RFAs are finally dealt with, and literally nothing exciting happened. Braden Point re-signed Matthew Tkachuk.
I think did we talk about Braden Point in the last podcast?
No.
Okay, so yeah, that happened. He got signed to a very, very fair deal.
Yeah, he's pretty much an identical player to Marner, I would say, except he's at the center position, and he got significantly less amount of money.
Yeah, I think the state tax helps, and also it's just you're living in Florida. You don't have to deal with those dirty old winters.
Yeah.
You're playing for obviously a great organization, the Lightning, hoping to run it back, and they got Kucherov, Stamkos, and now Point all under 10 mil, which is something Dubas could not accomplish. But also we have a high tax, state tax, or provincial tax, whatever you call that.
Sure.
So I guess you got to give him a bit of a break, but and then one of the other big signings was Matthew Tkachuk. Yeah. All these boys really left it to the last few days before training camp, or even a bit into training camp. I don't know what their point of. Maybe they wanted to miss training camp. I don't know what their deal was. Maybe they just wanted to get their best money. Probably the best money. But Tkachuk signed it 3 years, $7 million with $21 overall.
$21. That's a pretty good contract, man.
Yeah, that was pretty decent. $21 million.
And he had a good year this past year, so I'm surprised that he got what he did. I think a lot of these guys expected to get a little bit more when they saw what Marner got.
Exactly.
But a lot of the teams held it down.
They know what it takes to win. You got to take a little bit of a pay cut for the boys to rally together and make a championship happen. But I mean, Tkachuk's a great player. 77 points last season, 34 goals and 43 assists and 24 points on the power play. Probably one of the most hated players in the league, and I don't think anybody that plays against him likes him. But I think that's the type of guy you really want on your team. You can say the same with like Tom Wilson and Brad Marchand. They're feisty. You don't want to play against them, and then they score on you, and you're just like, I hate you. And I think he's probably the heart of that young squad, and gets the boys going and creates some energy for them for sure.
So Patrick Laine was the next free agent to sign at 2 years, $6.75 million AAV for a 13.5, and I actually called this on Twitter. Like I didn't get it exact. I think I said 6.5.
Bob McKenzie over here.
Yeah. We're breaking a lot of stuff over here, man.
We're probably pretty much just experts in the field at this point. So.
But yeah, Laine definitely Like, this guy could put 30 goals in the net in his sleep in a season.
But he just needs to be more consistent. I mean, I think he scored, 19 of his 30 goals in the month of December, November, something like that. So, and I think he went 26 games without scoring a goal. So he needs to figure out how to consistently do it and maybe get a few assists up there. Only 20 assists last season. So I feel like I could get 20 assists in the NHL if I was playing on a good line. He was also I think we talked about this on the last podcast. How he was trashing his line.
I'm surprised he actually got signed back. I thought it was seriously done for him in Winnipeg. Just like, even now that he's signed back, I mean, there's not a lot of people that like him in the city. I'm sure not only fans, but I'm sure the fans are happy that he re-signed, but the organization internally can't be too happy with the way he conducted this.
Especially when he was just talking like he wanted all that money, but he didn't have that great of a season last year, so he wasn't proving the contract he wanted. Mm-hmm. Well, people are probably mad about Marner holding out on the contract negotiations, but at least he was worth what he got for the most part.
Then Mikko Rantanen, my personal favorite free agent of the bunch. I was actually really excited to see him get paid because I think he's seriously underrated. I mean, well, not underrated in the sense that he got paid $9.5 million AAV,
which isn't that bad,
for 6 years. Definitely good for the guy. He's just consistently gotten better every year, so he definitely got what he deserved. And playing on that line, man, he's built some sort of chemistry that cannot be broken.
Yeah, it was a big move signing him down. Especially having McKinnon on such a cheap contract to be able to secure him, and for them really just make a run at. They have kind of this window here where they're gonna make a run at the cup. Got Kadri.
They're gonna win.
Is that what you're saying? Okay.
It's a hot take. I told you guys this in the last episode. They're gonna win.
But yeah, Mikko Rantanen, great season last year. 31 goals and 56 assists for 87 points, and the season before 29 goals, 55 assists for 84 points. So shows that he can do it on the big stage, and he jumped from 38 points to 84 points.
That's what I'm saying. Consistently getting better, and that's definitely what has earned him his money. Now,
we're missing another player from Winnipeg that got signed.
Oh, Kyle Connor.
Kyle Connor, yes, agrees to a 7-year, $50 million deal, which I feel like they were more worried about getting Connor signed than Laine did. He's more of a complete player. He's not as natural of a scorer, prolific as a scorer as Laine is, but I mean, he does more than Laine does, and Laine pretty much can just get the pucks on the net for you, and sometimes he can't do it consistently, so definitely Connor, and that's why they locked him down. And a 7-year deal.
That must piss off Laine just a bit, because he got paid $250K more. Right, I think
something like that. Just get your goal, get your points, man.
Yeah,
just
no, I actually
prove it on the ice.
I'm glad they signed Connor to a big deal because I think in the long run he's going to be a bigger part of the organization than Laine will. I can't see Laine staying unless they get to the final or something in the next 2 years. That I can't see Laine staying in Winnipeg much longer. That's pretty much it for the free agents. We can move on to the next big story in the NHL, which was the Austin Matthews situation. Now, you may notice there is a bit of an empty space here in the back of our background, and it was actually so funny because the night that this story broke about Austin Matthews and the whole situation with the security guard in Arizona back in the summer, the day this story broke, I came down into the studio here, and my jersey fell down, and I thought, damn, that's a super big coincidence. So now I got it sitting behind me here, if you can see. I just thought I'd point that out.
Yeah, it's interesting. The St. Pat's one's still up, but that's probably because it's just a nasty jersey.
Yeah.
It's just had to stay. Speaking of... I guess we can talk on the situation.
Yeah.
He was charged with disorderly conduct. I don't know the exact details of... I don't think anybody knows the exact details of what really went down. Apparently, he was at the bar with the boys.
I'll tell you what happened.
All right. Your boys with Matthews or what?
Well, no. What this... security guard lady is claiming is that he and his friends were very intoxicated and
big surprise.
Yeah, and tried to break into her car, and basically that freaked her out, which it would probably freak out anybody. A bunch of dudes trying to break into your car. But what ended up happening was once they backed off. He said, "Yeah, I just wanted to see what your reaction would be," and then he pulled down his pants and like showed his butt. But like,
well, he had Bosch's on.
Yeah.
Sounds like a movie you'd do after 10 beers. But I mean, I wouldn't do it after 10 beers. But
no.
Yeah, I guess it was just a wild night. I mean, he did a wrong thing. It's a weird situation.
Okay, so my big thing about this is the way that he handled it. It happened, in May?
Yeah.
May, June. You could have gotten this dealt with months ago, and it ruins your reputation coming into the season, especially since I think tonight they're supposed to be announcing a captain for the Leafs.
Leafs, they said by Wednesday. We'll see what James Duthie, he was talking to Mike Babcock, and he's like, oh, do you know who's going to be the captain, and is it going to be John Tavares? And then Mike Babcock was like, I don't know who the captain is. It's like, actually, yeah, I do, but I'm not going to tell you.
Oh, wait, was he on there tonight?
Yeah, he was interviewing him, like, I don't know, through a broadcast or whatever.
Oh, so we will see one tomorrow, though.
Yeah, he said he confirmed 100%.
That's crazy, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see who it is, and I hope it's Austin Matthews, but I think the safest bet for this stage would be Morgan Riley.
Yeah.
And it's not to knock any leadership from Morgan Riley just because I say he's the safe pick. I think he would be a great captain for this team. But you're in a situation now where your options are, if you want to make Matthews the captain, there's different statements that you can make from this. You either make him the captain now and say we're not going to let external situations affect our hockey organization.
Because
right?
it doesn't affect his leadership. It was a mishap, and it's a bad thing to do, but at the same time, it's not like
it's not hockey related.
Yeah, exactly. And he's young. He did a stupid move, and we got a little bit of an insider scoop from Matthew Shinetti. Remember, he was saying how. So I guess he knows the CEO of MLSE.
Yeah.
And he was saying that if Matthews were to, back in May when this happened, told MLSE, they would have taken him under his wing, like done all this promotional stuff, social responsibility, all that, and he would have been captain by now. So interesting news from the reporter himself.
News on that coming soon. Yeah. But anyways, back to what I was saying. There's different ways that you can go about this. You can give Matthews the captain and say we're not going to let this affect his leadership. You can give it to Tavares and say, and have people think that, oh, the only reason you gave it to him was because of the whole Matthews situation.
Yeah.
Or you give it to Morgan Riley, which I don't think everyone would necessarily be bad about.
And it was kind of funny that, like, Marner was in the discussion until the summer happened in the contract negotiations. Then he totally was out of it.
No way, man. If it took you that long to decide if you wanted to be here.
Clearly, yeah, exactly.
That's not who you want as your captain. But, yeah, crazy stuff there with Matthews. I hope he's the captain, man. He's he is the face of the franchise. He's the first overall pick since Wendell Clark, I think it was.
And again, it's just like it's a bad situation, but I think if we're looking like 10 years down the road, I hate to say that you'll forget about that it happened, but I think he'll have learned and moved on from the situation.
Forget 10 months. I'll give it a month, and nobody will even be talking about this situation, which is what pisses me off. Because realistically, if this situation broke out in May, why is this coming out now? Because it's close to hockey season, right? And it's a relevant topic, I guess.
Yeah. I think we can move on from that topic. We're gonna do a little bit of a early awards. Some awards I guess you wouldn't want. But we'll start off with most likely to exceed expectations. Yeah, you can start this one off.
Yeah, for me, I have two teams that, like, they're both kind of on the same level for me. I have the New Jersey Devils and the Dallas Stars. So the New Jersey Devils obviously just got Jack Hughes and PK Subban. So they got like two great acquisitions right there that I think will make a big difference in the organization moving forward. And you got Taylor Hall, former Hart Trophy winner. I think like this team is going to be exceeding expectations. Like I said, I think they'll make a good run in the playoffs. I'm not sure how far, but they'll go farther than everybody thinks, I guess. With the Dallas Stars as well, they got some new people. They got Corey Perry, who's injured right now. But they also have Joe Pavelski.
Yes, they do. That's a big acquisition.
That's what I'm saying. That's a huge pickup for them. And they got a lot of great defensemen as well, as everyone knows. John Klingberg, Esa Lindell, and then the young guy, Miro Heiskanen, which, it's a pretty good group right there for sure. The only issue really is their goaltending. I mean, Ben Bishop, we know, is phenomenal, but if he were to get injured, Anton Khudobin, I don't know how he can really carry the load there for them, but that's the other thing with New Jersey as well, with Corey Schneider. Like, we've seen him at his best, but we've also seen him at his worst.
Very bad, yeah.
But the upside is for them. They have Mackenzie Blackwood. I think he's a solid goaltender. So, yeah, that's my exceeding expectations. Who do you got?
So I got the Philadelphia Flyers. They didn't have a very good season last year. They were right at 500 with 37 wins and 37 losses, which is a bit disappointing because they had a pretty good team. Last year they had Claude Giroux, 85 points, Couturier, 76 points, Voracek, 66 points. Just seems like this guys that can just do it every year. And they had a strong core around them. Gosh Despair, Van Riemsdyk, Konechny, my bad, Simmons, but it just, they couldn't seem to get it together. They had players that had off years like Provorov. So I think they're going to be looking to come back big this year. They had some new acquisitions. They got Kevin Hayes, who is a solid right winger for them, and he can get it done. Last year, he had... I can't really do math because it shows two things. But anyways, he got 55 points, which is solid, 19 goals. So just another solid acquisition to that team. And, of course, you still have Giroux, Couturier, Voracek, that same core that has done it for you every year. And also just because it was such a crappy season last year, I mean, they don't want to have that same feeling, and they don't want to do that to the fans. So I think they're going to come back stronger, push it. Also, one of their biggest problems has been goaltending, but Hart has showed that he can be that man, although he just got nipped on last night from that European team. They lost 4-3. He got pulled pretty early. They also have Brian Elliott in there, so hopefully he can have a good season and the boys can bring it together. And I think that's going to be the team that exceeds their expectations.
What are your thoughts on those European games? Like, I'm pretty sure the Blackhawks are doing it as well this season.
Yeah, I don't.
Like, I like that.
I guess it's expanding the game, maybe.
But there's already teams there.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Maybe I think it's more. I know expanding the game in towards of like the NHL and maybe bringing it so people can like watch the games and watch like, the NHL.
I saw something as well. Like, aren't the Raptors or something going to play in India?
Yeah. Maybe India. I'm not sure about that. Last year they played some European team, but I think they usually just spanked them. But at the same time, like, you know, those players aren't going like fully at it. They don't want to go their hardest. They want to injure themselves, whatever. But I don't think them losing to a European team is gonna decide their future. But if Giroux, Couturier, and Voracek and Konechny had a great season last year, 49 points, Van Riemsdyk 48 points, the boys just need to bring it together and make a deep playoff run and win the Stanley Cup.
Just this year, you're calling it?
Yeah.
Cool. Who's your? Well, I'll go. My disappointment team this year. So we're both going to pick a team that we think is like going to be a little overhyped and will just end up disappointing the league. So I have the Winnipeg Jets as my disappointment. You know, you get the re-signing of Laine, Connor, but the biggest piece that is, my opinion, that is missing from them is Big Buff. His future is not guaranteed right now, man, in that city or in the league, and I feel like there's just going to be a lot of locker room problems this year.
It's a big hole in the defensive end, especially with Trouba gone.
Yeah, well, like I said, I think there's going to be a lot of locker room problems, especially with the whole drama with Laine. I can't see them. I mean, what was it? A first round exit last year?
Yeah.
Against St. Louis. I mean, that was the biggest shocker. Although they eventually went to go win the cup, but nobody expected that. And I don't know what it is about them. I think their window is slowly closing, man. I mean, I want them to prove me wrong because I was rooting for them a bit last year. And
Lana needs to be that man.
Yeah. So who do you got?
Yeah, I got the New York Rangers.
Ooh.
So I know some people think and I'm saying I think they're gonna be the disappointing team. They might have a great season. I don't know.
That's the thing.
I can't tell the future.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think they're just building their roster around a lot of hope. Obviously, they just got Panarin, so he's gonna be he's gonna be their guy. They also just got Trouba. And then they also just got the college defenseman Adam Fox, and of course they just picked number 2 overall and got Capo Caco. So they're kind of just relying on these young players to come out and break out for them pretty quick in their development. And if these guys can't get it together, then they're gonna have a lot of troubles because that's kind of their core already established. So hey, who knows? Maybe Capo Caco comes out and just rips up the league like he did in the World Championships, and maybe Adam Fox is a stellar defenseman, and maybe Jacob Trouba comes over and he does what he's been doing in the past. But I don't know. I think there's a good chance they don't mesh together. So they're going to be the first year playing together, and I just don't know if it's going to work out. And Lundqvist, of course, is getting older. You don't know how efficient he's going to be. If he's on the decline, and he's gonna have to drop off at one point, and you can already see it slowly coming. But maybe this is the year. I just don't know. I don't know if I can put my full trust in this team.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like the Rangers, so I'm not necessarily gonna agree with you on that. But let's move on. Then we'll let the players decide the outcomes for that.
No, I'm deciding it.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to do something a little special here that we decided was a good idea. We've seen it kind of going around past couple of weeks in some different media outlets just because we are coming on the 2010s decade for the NHL.
It's almost over.
Is coming to a close. And so we're going to do a 2010s all-decade team list. So we're going to do 4 lines, forwards, defense, 2 goalies. And basically, the way that this works, we aren't necessarily going by positions. We're just
centers, but then right.
Well, yeah,
and then right wings, left wings are kind of just like do what you gotta do.
Defense, yes, obviously you have to pick defense.
We're not throwing Malkin on defense.
Yeah, I may throw Taze in net. I don't know. But yeah, let's do it, man. And basically, another thing we took into consideration was Olympic play.
Yeah.
Because these are basically the best players from the past 10 years.
And we're probably not going to go too in-depth of each pick just because we have to go through a good amount of players here. But we'll kind of just tell our players and then say screw you and just deal with them.
Yeah, so you go first with your first line here.
Yeah, so my first line, centering it, is Sidney Crosby. I mean, deal with it.
Surprise.
I don't think it's not surprising. McDavid hasn't been here for the full 10 years, so to put him there is not what I want to do. But I'm putting Crosby there because everybody knows he's probably one of the greatest. Well, he is one of the greatest of all times, and I don't even need to speak about him anymore. Left wing Ovechkin, probably greatest goal scorer of all time, possibly.
Could be Gretzky. Could be
Gretzky, but could be Ovechkin. Right wing, we got Patty Kane. Just rips it up, nastiest handles you'll see. On defense, although he's kind of getting a little older and he's not doing what he used to do, we all remember him in Chicago, old Duncan Keith. He was probably the best defenseman in the league, and he was on the best team in the league, and they were just, 3 cups in 5 years, something like that?
Yeah,
and sure. And then I got Brett Burns, one of the best goal-scoring defensemen we've seen of late, and switched from forward to defense, which was interesting. He might have switched a few times back and forth. Either way, you don't see many people doing that. And I guess I won't say the goalies now. Or yeah?
Do not.
Okay.
Do not. Yeah, so we pretty much have almost the identical lineups, but except for one player.
And it's going to be not Brett Burns.
It's not Brett Burns is who it is. I have Erik Karlsson as my first line defense. I mean, there's no denying it, bro. He's one of the best defensemen of all time. Without him on Ottawa, there was a lot of years where nobody would want to watch that team. The man, he's got a couple medals in international play. He's got a silver medal at the Olympics in Sochi. And yeah, he's, let me see his stats here. He's got he's got 563 points in 680 career games played. Now that's a lot less games than a lot of the defensemen on these lists, because he has been very injury prone. But he's been able to bounce back, and that's why he is my first line defenseman. Who do you got for line number 2?
Okay, line number 2. This was a tough one because
I know pretty much after the first line it gets tough
because he went through so many injuries and he had a rough go. But when this guy was healthy, I mean, possibly one of the at least top 3 centers in the league. I got Steven Stamkos, starting off in his second year in 2010. I guess that kind of counts. Partly the part of the decade. He had 95 points, then 91 points, 97 points. Then he got the injury, 57 points, 40. Came back. When you come back, you're not your full strength, 72. Another injury, 64, 20. But now he's back and better than ever, 86, and then 98 points. If it wasn't for his injuries, you can fill in those points. It would probably be over 100 or at least sticking in the 90s. One of the most consistent players when he's healthy. I feel like people forget about him a bit, especially with Kucherov and Point on that team. He gets a little overshadowed, but I think he's back and people know who he is.
So that's one player.
Yeah, let me just pull up my next player, and that is Malkin. I mean, there's not much you can say about Malkin except he's just Gino. He rips it up. Probably one of the best offensive players in the league. Especially with those cup runs that the Penguins went at. I mean, same thing. Second year, 106 points, 113, 109. One of the few players in the league that can get over 100 points, and he just does it every year if he's healthy. He's playing 82 games. You know he's gonna get at least over 80 points or 90 points, and he was obviously an integral part of that Penguins roster, and they probably couldn't have got those cups without him.
That's literally 2 players.
Kopitar, one of the Kopitar, one of the best defensive and offensive players. Doughty, they went through those when the Kings had their little run there, where they were the 8th seed in the playoffs, and then they won it all. Obviously, probably one of the biggest reasons they won that, alongside Kopitar. And then I got Carlson as his defensive pair. So that's that.
You got anything else to say?
No.
So our second line, once again, close, but you're definitely missing somebody pretty big here. I'm not gonna lie to you. So I got Stamkos on the wing, because he's got that one-timer on him. You know it.
Okay.
I got Malkin on the right wing.
Okay.
And I got Jonathan Toews in at center.
Okay.
So Jonathan Toews used to be my favorite player of all time. The man has 3 Stanley Cups, 2 gold medals. Once again, widely considered one of the best two-way centers in the league, maybe of all time. I don't know. I'm not going to put him up there yet. But, yeah, man, he's got a World Cup championship as well. Once again, him and Kane from 2009 to 15 were unstoppable together. And international play, he was always an integral part of the team. So that's one guy for sure. So my defense as well, I got Chris Letang. I honestly considered putting him a little lower, but I was just thinking the same way that the Hawks had all those players that were super huge part of their team. For me, Letang was also that way. He was their best defenseman
when he was healthy.
Yeah. And then as well, I got Drew Doughty for the other defenseman for line number 2. Let's move on to line number 3.
So I got Giroux as my centerman. In the past 10 seasons, he's ranked 4th in points, only behind, listen to this, Sidney Crosby, Patrick Kane, and Ovechkin, both of our starting lineups. So he has had 735 points in the last 10 seasons. That's 227 goals and 508 assists. Although he hasn't had the same amount of, he hasn't won a Stanley Cup, but He did play for Canada, and just shows in the past seasons he's just been ripping up. I won't go too far in him because last time I just talked too much. And then my wingers, Marchand, not again one of those players where pesky. That's a word. I'll just say feisty because I know that's a word. Feisty player, score on you. He'll also piss you off. He'll lick your neck or whatever, kiss your cheek, whatever he was doing.
You keep going. I don't know what you're saying right now.
Okay, didn't he do that in the first round against the Leafs? He was like kissing them. Yeah. So that's what he was doing. Gotta love it. But yeah, one of the best players in the league. And then I got Wheeler. Blake Wheeler, who just keeps doing it, man. He's top 15 in the past 10 seasons with 651 goals. And then on the defense, I got Byfuglien, who is probably one of the most scary players to play against and one of the best defensive players to play against. He'll just kill you and he'll fight you and he'll do whatever he wants to you. And then Hedman, who Norris Trophy winner, one of the best defensemen in the league. Tough to get around with that long reach, much like Chara. And yeah.
Cool. So for my third line, I'm going to start off with someone. Once again, we also have some similar players, but for this one, this is where it starts panning out differently. So I got Bergeron at center. Once again, one of the best two-way forwards of all time. One of the toughest players of all time. We saw some runs in the playoffs where he was going through so much, like punctured lungs, broken ankles, but he was playing through it.
That Boston team last year was going through a hell.
Yeah, and that team has always been scary to me for as long as I can remember. When they beat Vancouver, he was a part of that team. 2 Olympic gold medals, 1 world championship. Not much to say more about that. You guys know him. You love him. Ryan Getzlaf on the wing there. Yeah. So he's 8th all-time in active player scoring. Almost a point per game. And once again, he's got 2 Olympic medals, 1 Stanley Cup, 1 World Championship. I mean, by no means, all of these guys are very much interchangeable. There's no real argument between us here on who should go where. I think maybe in the 4th line we might get something, but once again, I have Byfuglien on defense as well, but I have Shea Weber as my other defenseman.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
4th line.
My 4th line was Bergeron. I could have switched him with Giroux. It's just there's no definite answer.
Yeah. Well, for me, it was the Cups.
Yeah.
That's why I put.
That's fair.
That's why I put Bergeron.
That's fair. I have Kucherov on the wing, although he hasn't been around for the past 10 years in the NHL. I think just his last 5 or 6 seasons, he's just proven himself to be just one of the best players in the league when both assists and scoring. 128 points last season, 100 before, 85, and he's just gotten better each year. I have Jakub Voracek. He's one of the players that just keeps doing it as well. He's pretty much been around for exactly a decade, and as long as he's been healthy, he's pretty much improved each season, has multiple seasons over 80 points, and he's going to be an integral part of that team this year. And on defense, I have Shea Weber and Chara, so 2 of the hardest slap shots in the league, and Chara with the Stanley Cups with Boston, of course, one of the best defensemen in the league. And Shea Weber was one of the greatest leaders in the NHL and integral part of that Montreal squad with that young core.
All right. So I got my centerman here is Nick Backstrom. That may be a surprise to some of you guys, but super slept on player. He's pretty much a point per game. He's played a lot less games than everyone on this list, but he ranks number 11 all time.
He gets slept on hard.
And he's finally got a Stanley Cup under his belt, which was pretty much the reason why I put him in. He's a champion, and he's so good at distributing the puck, especially on the power play. He loves to play below the net and just find Ovechkin 99 out of 100 times.
You know that spot too.
Yeah, he's probably one of the most underrated players of all time. Someone else I have Eric Stahl. Once again, another super underrated.
I was
player.
thinking about putting him on there.
So he's number 6 all-time points, active players, and he used to be the former captain of Carolina. Once again, played in the Olympics. Has a gold medal. He has 1 Stanley Cup. Not much more to say about him. My defenseman for the 4th line was Chara and Brent Seabrook. Once again, lots of Chicago boys on here, but for the past decade, they ran the NHL pretty much.
Yeah. Okay. Some more news of NHL players being bad boys. Vander Kane has been suspended.
We did not do goalies.
We didn't do goalies, so we're gonna go back to the all-time decades.
This is the most controversial part. We have not.
I'm just moving at a lightning speed here. Okay.
I'm gonna put the hottest takes out here right now, and you were just about to spit by this. Little disappointed in you. I'm not gonna lie.
What?
Little disappointed.
Oh, you know what I picked?
No.
Then what are you
I'm just saying. I'm a little disappointed that you skipped past.
Okay. It's just because I put them at the top of my list by accident, and then I was moving to the bottom, and I didn't see them. And anyways, you can go first. You're all happy and excited.
I'm gonna say one goalie, then you say the other, and then I'll say, because
it's probably gonna be the same one, but
I don't know.
All right, go.
So my first goalie is Marc-Andre Fleury.
Okay.
The man has 3 Stanley Cups. The man was a part of a gold medal team. What else do I have to say? He would I was watching a highlight reel of him the other day, and the fact that when he got traded from Pittsburgh, I was like, okay, this guy's done. Or he wasn't traded. They Vegas got him, right?
Yeah.
And they did him in the what draft was it? What is it called when they drafted?
Oh, in the
you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. The expansion draft. Yeah.
Because it can protect.
We do have a sports podcast.
But yeah, man, this guy's a stud. I don't know what else to say.
He's like him.
He's definitely had some health issues, but the fact that he's been able to bounce back to a Vegas team that's been able to dominate, the 3 years that they've been in the league. He's my one of my all-time goalies.
So my goalie's never been a backup. His name is Carey Price.
Okay, so all right.
So yeah.
How many cups does he have though?
Okay, but
but
Team Canada.
How many cups does he have though? So he needs to play behind literally the best team of all time to get a gold medal?
You could say that about any player you were talking about that played for Team Canada.
No, because my next goalie, you will understand.
Okay, well, anyways, so you're saying Carey Price is not one of the best goalies of all time?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
So that's what I'm saying.
Okay, all right.
All right, so this man's nice. He's never had a save percentage less than 90, or you know what I mean.
That's not an
pretty
accomplishment.
Pretty much always have winning records. But this dude has been pretty much the reason why Montreal has been Montreal for the past however many years. Always been solid. Has a bit of injury problems himself. He's not the most sturdy man.
Yeah.
But you can always rely on him if he's healthy to be the guy you need. And if he had a stronger team in front of him, who knows how far they could go. And yeah.
Man, you want to know what I call a goalie that's had a save percentage
what?
That's never had a save percentage below 900? I call him a starter.
He was a starter.
Okay, so literally any starter in the league has that. That's not anything
because they
super notable.
Kayla, who's the guy?
Who's my guy?
Yeah.
I got Hank Lundqvist, baby.
Okay, we're the same person.
What?
I pick Lundqvist too.
Okay, but I don't have Carey Price on my list is what I'm saying.
But I do have Carey Price on my list.
So that's my hot take. Carey Price, in my opinion, is one of the most overrated players in hockey. Now, that's not to say that if he had a better team in front of him, he wouldn't win the Stanley Cup. But Henrik Lundqvist never had a super team in front of him either.
Yeah.
So he has a Stanley Cup. And you could argue that he took them there.
And he's on my list.
Yeah. Okay.
So what are we arguing here?
I'm just saying, okay, but you have Carey Price and I don't.
That's a fact.
You're not going to argue that?
I said what I said. I mean, Montreal wouldn't be that team if it wasn't for him.
True enough.
Marc-Andre Fleury had Crosby, Malkin, blah 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 blah.
Yeah. So Crosby, Malkin, who else?
I'd have to look up the roster.
Letang.
I'd have to look up the roster.
I don't have to look up the roster.
So who's on that?
Nobody special. Okay, who's your other goalie? So Henrik Lundqvist.
Yeah. All right, now we've set our goalies.
Let's move on out of this.
Comment to the YouTube section what you think about those.
Yeah.
But so like I said, another guy that got a little bit of trouble. San Jose Sharks forward Evander Kane has received an automatic 3-game suspension under Rule 40.4, which is the physical abuse of officials. The league announced Tuesday. So the incident occurred in the third period when Kane, I guess he got in an altercation with Golden Knights defenseman Derek Englund, and so the linesman tried to separate the two players and knocked Kane to the ice, and then Kane got up and shoved the ref in the chest. He picked up a total of 27 penalty minutes in that game, including a 10-minute penalty for the abuse and a 10-minute misconduct. And then he had a bit of a statement after saying, "I got kicked out of the game for getting jumped from behind from the referee. I've never seen a ref take 5 strides. If you look at his face, he's getting all his power and he's just trying to drive me into the ice," which is what he did. That's unbelievable. Talk about abuse of an official. How about abuse of a player? It's an absolute joke. And then he says, "I was just skating up the ice, whistle went, minding my own business, and next thing you know, I get driven into the ice by one of the officials for doing nothing. I wasn't even engaged with one of the players. Explain to me how do you get kicked out of the game for that? Baffling."
Okay, cool. It's a long quote. We get it, Kane. You got an attitude problem. All right. It's not a surprise that this guy would pull some crap like this.
Didn't he lead the league in penalty minutes last year?
Yeah. The only thing that's surprising is that he would do it in preseason. And, why are guys getting fired up in preseason? I mean, I remember 2 nights ago, I saw Tom Wilson try to go the whole Carolina team, and I was very surprised by that as well. But speaking of rules, because you said, what, was it 40.2?
40.4.
40.4. We're going to go into some new rules.
Some dumb new rules.
Some dumb rules of the NHL.
We're saying it.
So the first rule involves increased player safety on the helmet rule, Rule 9.6. So
sounding like Antonio Brown with the helmets.
Yeah, the rule says here, if a player loses his helmet during play, he must immediately leave the playing surface or replace his helmet if he wishes to remain on the ice. Failure to do so will result in a minor penalty. If a player loses his helmet during a play in which he's immediately involved, referees will grant him the opportunity to complete that play before exiting/replacing his lid. Any player failing to comply with this will be issued a minor penalty. So my whole beef with this, I don't know if you read through this a couple times, but
no.
Well, it's very strange because when he says when they say if a player is immediately involved,
I think it kind of contradicts itself.
Well, no, because yes, at the same time, because you're in most danger when you have the puck.
Yeah, when you're in part of the play.
Right, and I guess, and it's going to just turn out to be super subjective, and I can already see a couple of issues coming from it. But I mean, I guess if you're on a breakaway and you have the puck and your helmet falls off, then yeah.
That's a fair point.
You get to go. But if you're on the power play and, you're wide open and say your helmet just falls off. I don't know how it would happen.
Somebody, how you can go to the bench and grab a stick. I wonder if you can just go to the bench, somebody tosses you a helmet.
No, because I think
catch it with your head.
I think it says you have to leave the ice. Oh. So that's dumb rule number 1. Dumb rule number 2: penalties for unsuccessful challenges. Up until this point, a coach could only issue a challenge if the club had a timeout available, and that's no longer the case. With coaches now able to issue a challenge at any time, but not without consequences. The first unsuccessful challenge will result in a minor delay of game penalty for the challenging club. Each additional unsuccessful challenge after that will result in a double minor delay of game penalty.
What was the rule about this last year?
You lose your timeout.
Oh, okay, so it wasn't a penalty.
Yeah, which I think is very stupid because we all know referees aren't perfect, and there was definitely a high percentage of plays that got reversed on coaches' challenges.
Yeah, it seems like this is just a way to quicken up the pace of the game, so they're not. I guess fans just don't want to see reviews all the time.
How about we just get the game right? I mean, obviously there's human error, but isn't it like good that we have like access to this technology? Like, I mean, I understand that it slows down the game and it can make it long, but
you want to get it right.
You want to get it right, especially in a crucial game, right?
I guess the whole point is that, like, I don't know, maybe before you ask for the challenge, you get your people upstairs to like look it over, make sure it's right or whatever.
But there's even been some close ones, man, where they don't.
Yeah, sometimes it's just too tough
to check. It doesn't go their way. And like, imagine if you're already livid that if you're just so sure that you're gonna call this challenge and get it reversed, and you don't, then you're already gonna be pissed, and then you're gonna get a penalty. I don't think it's really a good thing to do. I was fine with the timeout being removed.
Yeah.
Because that
makes you just want to check it over anyways.
Yeah. Well, then not only that, you already quicken up the game by not giving a team an opportunity to use a timeout, although it's not used too often. Final dumb rule for the NHL. Face-off flexibility on offense. If the defensive team forces a stoppage in play, the offensive team can now choose which side of the offensive zone the face-off will take place. This applies to the following 4 scenarios. 1. A goaltender freezes the puck on any shot taken from outside center ice. Number 2. A skater on the defensive team forces a stoppage of play by unintentionally dislodging the net. Number 3. The defensive team ices the puck. Number 4. First face-off to commence a power play. So
yeah, my brain can keep up with that, but I'll let you go at that.
So basically, they're letting the players decide where the face-off.
Yes, that's kind of the thing I got, which is a bit weird.
So you're telling me that when the other team ices it, you just automatically decide where it is, although you still have to stay on the ice, so you're still gassed. Yeah. You're looking for the easiest way to get off and change. So most of the time they're gonna pick closest to the bench, probably.
Yeah.
A skater on the a goaltender freezes the puck on any shot taken from outside center ice. How often does that happen? Yeah. I mean, like a failed dumping attempt. Well, it's not even failed because it's on net, but that just doesn't seem like something that needs to be put in. I feel like they just threw that in for just like
might as well
spice up the game somehow.
Let's move on to some NBA though.
Yeah, that was a quick transition.
Yeah.
You don't want to debrief at all?
Hockey has been in my mind for the past...
We're on the eve of the NHL regular season.
And same with the NBA.
No, we're really not.
NHL, somewhat close.
The NHL, okay, the preseason.
Okay, what more do you need to say about face-off flexibility on offense?
No, not that. I'm just saying.
What do you want to talk about?
I mean...
You excited?
Yeah.
I'm excited too.
Yeah.
What excites you about this season?
The Leafs are going to win the Stanley Cup.
Oh,
hold up.
I thought Colorado. I was going to say, I already made these predictions last podcast, if you've been listening.
Yeah, no, we can talk about the NBA.
Okay, let's get to the NBA. So, some media day news. Klay Thompson will be reevaluated and out indefinitely until the All-Star break.
Which even then seems quick.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think this is that big of an issue. I think the only issue this will have for Golden State was that maybe he won't be coming back as fresh as he would if he played the whole season. But I mean, they still have they'll still do fine. They'll still win enough games to make the playoffs as long as their players stay healthy. So like I said, and Klay Thompson will have enough time to come back and be good enough for the playoffs if he does come back from All-Star break. So like I said, that could be the only issue, is that he's not totally fresh, and I don't see them slipping past a 6th seed in the West, really, because it's still the Golden State Warriors, and Steph Curry is still at least probably the best point guard in the league. So I don't think it'll be an issue for them. And now they have D'Angelo Russell, who's probably going to win MVP next year. So, no.
Yeah, thank you for saying no. Other news, Joel Embiid has lost 20 pounds for the upcoming season, which...
I wonder why.
Well, he was very slow. And I think this is definitely going to help him out being a little more mobile because that's what I think is missing in his game is his mobility. And, that's a huge thing for Philly.
Hopefully he's been working on his athleticism. I mean, he kind of, Marc Gasol kind of shut him down a bit in that series. So, if he's dropping 20 pounds, hopefully he's still getting stronger because at the center position, although it's not as, there's not as much contact and aggressiveness in basketball as there used to be, and centers aren't going body to body like they used to do back in the day. It's still important. You still need to have some strength. I mean, you're still going up against 7-foot players.
Yeah.
But,
Giannis was asked about contract negotiations, contract extension negotiations, as he'll become a massive free agent next year.
I'm hearing all these things about Giannis, him going to the Golden State Warriors is a serious possibility, and then I'm hearing the Mavericks. I'm like, this dude was re-signing with Milwaukee. Yeah. Unless they have some weirdly horrible season, I cannot see him going anywhere else. That would not make any sense.
He's the man there.
Yeah, he's perfect situation. They're a good team. They're still on the come up. It wouldn't make, especially go to the Mavericks. I guess it would be a very weird fit with him, Porzingis, and Doncic.
That would be pretty dope, though.
It would be, but would it work? I don't know. Golden State Warriors, that would probably. I just can't see him on any other team.
No, I don't think he really. From what I've heard, he's not really big into socializing with a lot of the other NBA players, and I think he likes to keep to himself. So I can definitely see him staying in Milwaukee. But basically, the story out of that was when he was asked about contract talks, he just said it would be disrespectful to his teammates. So that's a pretty interesting response. I mean, because you want to keep your options open. You don't know how the season's going to go. But it's just not the right time. I mean, you haven't played even a game with your group yet.
Fair point.
Yeah. Paul George, new home in the LA Clippers, has said that he will be back to 100% in November as he's suffering from a shoulder injury right now. So Kawhi will probably have to carry the load, which he definitely won't have a problem with. And it won't even really be much of carrying a load. I mean, that team is stacked. They're
still a pretty solid team.
They're my pick for the NBA Finals coming out of the West, even though the West is just crazy.
It's stacked. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun either way.
Then Kristaps Porzingis says he's feeling better than he's ever felt before entering his first full season with the Mavericks.
Whether he could just be saying that, but I mean, maybe it's true.
I think him and Luka are going to do some crazy things. It's going to be very interesting.
We haven't seen a full Porzingis mode in a bit, and it's weird. He used to be the man. Everybody was talking about Porzingis, and then got injured. Nobody talked about him.
Yeah.
I think it was just he was on the Knicks, such a crappy team. They had nothing going for them.
And Porzingis is actually a cheat code in NBA 2K. I don't know.
It's a joke. Yeah, I played. That's the reason why I was playing franchise mode with the Milwaukee Bucks.
What?
Oh, Porzingis. My brain's on Giannis. Is he? Were you playing franchise mode with the Knicks?
No,
or
with
the
Dallas.
Mavericks?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because you have that new 2K. You have that new 2K. I don't, because I'm poor.
NFL news.
Oh no! I got a little something here. Bleacher Report. Sometimes I think they're smoking crack. They released predicting the most disappointing NBA teams this season. We talked about hockey. They're talking about basketball. Their first one was the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
I mean, Jaylen Brown, my favorite NBA player.
Yeah, so they talked about him and how he has not developed.
So he hasn't gotten better, but I'm telling you, man, if he does, he's going to be nasty, but he's just not gotten better in recent years.
But the reason why I said they're smoking on something, they also put the Clippers and the Lakers on this list.
So I can see the Lakers.
Yeah, kind of.
Over the Clippers, I can see the Lakers.
Yeah, but I just don't see LeBron with the lineup they have now and with Anthony Davis. like, I don't know what they mean by what disappointing will be. Is disappointing like not making it to the NBA Finals? Like,
so I'm saying if I were to choose between a team that was gonna flop between the Clippers and Lakers, I would say the Lakers. But that being said, I still think that the Lakers are gonna do fine.
Yeah, because if they're not putting the Clippers up there and they're saying the Lakers aren't gonna make it, I don't know, maybe they're saying like Houston. I don't know. There's a lot of good teams in the West.
Houston, I could definitely see being a disappointment.
Oh, definitely. I mean, who knows if Westbrook and Harden are going to work?
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, they also got who else? They got San Antonio Spurs. I don't know why they're on that list. Like, okay, cool.
Yeah, I would not be surprised.
Yeah. And they put the Brooklyn Nets on there, but I mean, like,
not this year. I think
everybody knows that. Yeah,
they're gonna be okay. They're not gonna be.
It's pretty much just Kyrie, DeAndre Jordan, and they got a few other pieces that were there from last year, and it's probably going to be a young, exciting team. I'm sure they'll still make.
I think I still make the playoffs.
Yeah, it's probably something like that. So again, what they mean by disappointing, I don't know. Maybe disappointing to people that had stupid high expectations for them and don't follow the NBA. Maybe. Yeah. But I thought I'd just throw that in there quickly. Football. Yeah, so we got a small little story. Well, it's not that small. It's kind of big. If you like NFL, listen up. Vontaze, I think that's his name. Perfect. He was suspended for a helmet-to-helmet hit on Colts tight end Jack Doyle. Did you see this hit?
Yeah. I saw the hit, but I don't know who any of them are.
Yeah, okay. So he's suspended for the rest of the season, which is the longest on-field suspension in NFL history.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, so how many games was it? Oh, for the rest of the season.
But I guess, it's not that many. Whatever.
No, that's a lot, dude. It's week 4.
Yeah, I just mean in terms of like compared to like the NHL. If you get suspended like that early, you'd be out like so many games. But and Perfect is gonna appeal, so maybe he can win the case, but he really just wasn't helping himself. Like he was like he did fully head-on-head contact, and then he was like taunting the fans, like blowing kisses and stuff. It's like, buddy, like I was thinking like, and his coach backed him up. It's like if I see that, I'm like, you need to stop that. You clearly did a helmet-on-helmet contact. Like that's why players are getting concussions. Yeah. And laughing and making a joke out of it just seems a bit stupid and probably didn't help. And he also He had NFL VP of Football Operations John Runyan said in a league release that Perfect was suspended for lowering his head to initiate and make contact with helmet against opponent and repeat violations of unnecessary roughness rules. So I guess he just has a history of being a bad boy.
Not exactly the biggest fan of Mr. Perfect. So.
Yeah, and the quote was, "Your extensive history of rule violations is factored into this decision regarding accountability measures." So he's in trouble. Longest on-field suspension of NFL history because being a bit of a jerk.
Facts. You can't be a jerk, bro.
Nah, I gotta be a cool dude.
Damn. We're pretty much done.
That was pretty much an hour.
Yeah.
Anything else? Any feelings?
Oh, man. No, we gotta tell them the news, bro.
Do we? Are we exposing it?
All right. I'm sure some of you probably haven't even listened this far. But if you have, you got a little treat.
And hopefully you know who he is.
Yeah. Well, if you're listening to a sports podcast where we talk mostly about basketball and hockey, then...
You probably do.
Matthew Shinetti.
You know, TSN reporter, CFL, NBA, everything. The man, the myth, the legend.
Friends with Kyle Lowry.
DeMar DeRozan.
Pascal Siakam.
Everybody in the sports world.
Mr. Converse himself will be appearing on an episode of The Relay.
Yeah. He was in our class and we said, Mr. Shinetti, may you please hop on the podcast? And he said, it would be an honor.
Now,
that's not how it didn't go down.
We definitely weren't that confident.
No, I was crapping my pants. Yeah. I was... The conversation lasted probably 20 seconds. I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, that'd be really cool if you could come on our podcast.
Yeah. And I think he knew I was pretty nervous.
Yeah.
But screw it. He's coming on.
I don't even know what we're going to ask him, to be honest. We haven't thought that far.
we'll know what we're doing. We'll do some research.
He's a very interesting man. He's done some great work.
Yeah.
Done some great work for TSN. Super close with a lot of athletes. So if you guys have any questions that you'd like us to ask him,
that's facts. Yeah.
Drop a comment.
DM us.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Dana Ryan 621 Crook.
If you guys aren't following at the Relay Pod on Instagram, we're pretty active on there right now. Definitely gonna be more active as the winter comes through with some NHL and NBA.
Make sure to give us a follow. We have a Houston Rockets jersey giveaway that you should
definitely.
So you can check our page for that and check Russ West IG. Oh, we also have to shout out some people.
Oh, true.
Yeah, we do. Okay, so let's just bring that up right now.
Yeah, facts. All right. Oh man.
Because we're just making connections with everybody out there.
Yeah. Done a lot of shout outs, so we gotta support some people that support us, that's gang.
The boys. I'm on my page. See, the problem with having two accounts is that I don't know what page I'm on sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll post stuff about sports on my own page, and I probably do that almost every time I post.
So first off, shout out at russwest.ig. Go give him a follow for helping me out with the giveaway.
Yes.
We
also have NHL snipe clips. So
some of the names are so cringe, but we promised that we would give him a shout out because we definitely think that we have a better platform on here than we do for Instagram.
Is that it? Is that?
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Yeah. If we missed you, don't really care.
No, just give us a DM.
Yeah.
Just give us a DM. We'll hit you back. We'll shout you out. We'll do what we need to do.
Shout out those guys. It's super late. Trying to get some sleep. Thanks for watching.